It's dreary like this.
My name is Tricia Simone Vincent. Part of my purpose is activating people's self-esteem. You are the chief visionary officer of your life. I don't want life to happen to me. I want to happen to it. I need to fire myself. I need to move out of my way. I need someone else to help me to concisely articulate what my value is and contribution. I've had clients at the highest levels dealing with imposter syndrome. We help professionals, senior level management, leaders, executives to enhance and boost their executive brand and their marketing presence so that they can go ahead and saturate the job market. They need to know and own that they have the value, that all these years that they've been contributing to their company has not been for naught. They get a chance to walk away with that, and now they can own it and articulate that to the market. What Tricia allowed me to do, she was able to present that to me. I was reading it and I'm like, is this me? Is this what I did? It was transformative to be able to see that. If the ideal job came knocking on your door for a job interview, are you ready? That's all I'm going to ask. Are you frustrated that you have the answers but nobody else sees it? Are you frustrated that you're the best kept secret that nobody knows about? Are you tired of being hidden and you have all this value but you don't know how to articulate and you don't know how to present yourself? Well, if that is you, then I'm here to help you out. Visit us at launchyourinfluence.com so we can work with you and your organization to make that happen.
Let's see if we can get this party started.
Yeah. I can't see the participants in the Zoom, so I can't see whether someone's joined or not.
We're live, but I actually have to do something. Start.
You know, even if Tony doesn't join.
Okay, hi, I think I've got some. We're live. If you can hear me, go ahead and put your Q&A. If you can use your Q&A, let's see if this is going to work for us. Let's see. We've got some technical difficulties. Okay. I need to be saying let's see, go to webinar. I've got people in the waiting room.
Recording in progress.
Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Let's see if we can go ahead and get started. We will begin now. Let's see. Let me just do this.
Hi, my name is Trisha Simone Vincent. Part of my purpose is activating people's self-esteem. You are the chief visionary officer of your life. I don't want life to happen to me. I want to happen to it. I need to fire myself. I need to move out of my way. I need someone else to help me to concisely articulate what my value is and contribution. I've had clients at the highest levels dealing with imposter syndrome. We help professionals, senior level management, leaders, executives to enhance and boost their executive brand and their marketing presence so that they can go ahead and saturate the job market. They need to know and own that they have the value, that all these years that they've been contributing to their company has not been for naught. They get a chance to walk away with that, and now they can own it and articulate that to the market. What Trisha allowed me to do, she was able to present back to me. I was reading it and I'm like, is this me? Is this what I did? It was transformative to be able to see that. If the ideal job came knocking on your door for a job interview, are you ready? That's all I'm going to ask. Are you frustrated that you have the answers but nobody else sees it? Are you frustrated that you're the best kept secret that nobody knows about? Are you tired of being hidden and you have all this value but you don't know how to articulate and you don't know how to present yourself? Well, if that is you, then I'm here to help you out. Visit us at launchurinfluence.com so we can work with you and your organization to make that happen.
Okay, I sure will. Let's see. Okay, let's get this started. I think you should be able to hear and see me. Let's see if we can present. Yes. All right. Yay. We're going to get started. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. We're so excited to be here and to kick off Juneteenth with focusing on getting your career together. Welcome to our June Job Jumpstart Career Mid-Year Pulse Check. We are so excited that we are going to actually level set to see where we are within the first 6 months of 2024. In January, we held a webinar and we kicked it off with doing our virtual version of a vision board. And so I wanted to kind of leverage that information so we can actually segue into how are we looking back to see what worked, what did not work, what do we need to repeat, what do we not need to repeat. And so one of the things that we actually took the time to do was dedicate a theme for this year. So for Launch Your Influence, our theme for 2024 is opening the right doors in 2024. What is your life theme? And everything that you do throughout 2024 should actually be reflected with that. So keep that in mind. The first activity that you're going to write down if you're taking notes is, what is your theme for 2024? And are you in alignment with that said theme? All right. So we are going to take this journey and begin now. All right. So you are in the right place. If you want to be prepared, you want to be ready, because you know you're not ready. You want to be motivated. You want to be intentional because you've got things that you want to achieve and you want to make sure that you can accomplish. So for today's agenda, we're going to first go over our consistent wellness check. So every month we have said that we're going to be dedicating each one of our public engagements, always talking about how do we maintain our wellness? How do we maintain our emotional, our mental capacity so we could be healthy moving forward and we're not neglecting it. So we're going to go through our annual or our monthly wellness check. Then we're going to actually do our pulse check. We're going to do our lessons learned, our life review of the previous 6 months. And then we're going to dive into our career check. So we're really excited about what that looks like and introduce some new material to you. And then we're going to get on the right path of how can we move forward? What does that look like? And launch your influence. So let's get this party started. So let me know in the chat if this is you. You want to invest in the future, in your future success. You want to gain invaluable insights and strategies to advance your career. And we're actually going to say to develop your life as well. And you want practical and actionable advice that you can immediately implement. We've already started that. We've already started. The first action is, what is your theme for 2024? Do you need to revisit it? Do you need to update it? And if you didn't have one, take some notes as to what you think your theme for this year would be for your life. So about myself, my name is Trisha Simone Vincent. I help professionals enhance their marketing presence by helping them identify their value and couple that with creating a brand identity. And we take that brand identity and bring it to your voice. So we're going to enable you to confidently present your better self to your respective industries. We have had the pleasure of working with our clients from healthcare, energy, tech, finance, banking, education, project management, you name it, small businesses. We are so excited for what is in store for 2024. And we want to continue working and helping our clients to present their better selves and to remain a driving force. So we're going to take out the complexity of you being able to do it, and we're a do it for you boutique service as well. So let's go ahead and go into our wellness check. And so we are going to, at this point in time, we're going to introduce Jillian. Jillian, if you want to, if you're on Zoom, you can unhide yourself or share your video and get started. I think StreamYard is muted as well. So I think you need to unmute StreamYard.
Okay, sure. I just wanted to make sure that that we weren't getting any duplicate audio from Zoom. Can you hear me okay? I can't.
Oh, Jillian, we'll just go ahead and move on. I think it's just going to be on our recording. So you are on the recording for StreamYard. So we'll just go ahead and move on. But I can't hear you. You're muted on StreamYard.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. We're going to get it together, people. We're going to get it together. Thank you for your patience, everybody.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Jillian Simpson. I am the Chief Financial Officer helping with Trisha with Launch Your Influence. I have a background in financial and business planning, specifically when it comes to benchmarking activities and for trying to find ways in which that we can remove redundancies and find ways to streamline our processes so that we can see real profit savings at the end of the year or the quarter or what have you. Specifically for this presentation, I'll be speaking about self-care activities and wellness check and how to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves while we're in pursuit of our career and our life goals. On the next slide, you'll see some information pertaining to mental health. So I know that June is for Men's Health Awareness Month, but since we just came out of a very busy May and we are doing our mid-year check, we thought it would be nice to incorporate the Mental Health Month along with the Men's Health Month for May and June. So in terms of mental health, how can you take care of your mental health? Well, you're here on this journey looking for ways to improve your presence in the job force. You're looking for ways to improve your resume and how you present yourself in the world from a career standpoint. And many times that's tied to your self-esteem and your self-worth. And so a good, very important, significant portion of making sure that you are right and ready for the future that you are working towards is making sure you're taking care of yourself while you're on that professional journey. And so what are some ways that you can check in and make sure that you're doing okay with your mental health? One of the easiest ways, yet not always when it comes to finding time, because we're all very busy, is trying to get some regular exercise, moving our body, trying to get in at least 30 minutes of moderate activity a day does wonders for your heart health, but also for your mental health and your stress management. Eating healthy, regular meals. I know that I have a tendency to grab a coffee for breakfast and I may eat lunch, but more than likely it's be at the end of the day when I finally put something of substance on my belly. And that's not good for sustainability throughout the day, for your energy level, for your motivation. You really do need to find a way to incorporate regular meals, whether that's intermittent fasting or just 3 meals a day, along with staying hydrated. Water is our friend. Water loves us. We love water. There's lots of supplements you can now use if you don't like the taste of water to kind of freshen that up or make it exciting for you. Sleep. I know, especially in the Black community, one of the first things that we eliminate when we are focused on something and trying to reach a goal, and it takes a lot of time and effort, sometimes sleep is the first thing that we end up sacrificing. And sleep is actually one of the most important things in terms of your energy levels and your concentration and your motivation. So sleep is very, very important. We need that time to relax and let our body rejuvenate and prepare us for the next day. Setting goals and priorities can help you. I know that I tend to be a little anxious when things are pretty vague. And so setting goals and priority and working towards that actually helps me with stress reduction and being focused and not getting distracted by my progress towards a goal. A relaxing activity. So a lot of times people are like, I'm going to self-care. And then the self-care ends up being a to-do list that adds to your stress and anxiety as opposed to helping you alleviate your stress and anxiety. So you don't want to create an activity plan that's tied to your self-care that becomes one more to-do list item that stresses you out. So make sure you're choosing activities for your self-care that actually bring you peace and relaxation. Practicing gratitude, loving yourself and taking care of yourself throughout the journey, throughout the process. So you want to make sure that you don't save gratitude from when you meet a goal. You're grateful all the way up until you meet that goal because you know you're working towards something you care about. Focusing on positively is directly tied to the gratitude portion. So you want to make sure that you're taking a glass half full approach because all of that energy will try to help move you forward towards your goal. You want to be your best friend first, and you want to stay connected. So I know that myself, when I'm knee deep in some work, I have my blinders on. I often have a tendency to self-isolate. That's actually not a great and healthy place for me to be. Too much time in my own head sometimes leads to too much self-criticalness. And so you want to make sure you stay connected and let the people who love on you and care about you motivate you and help you see all the positive things that you're doing as you progress towards your goal. So the next slide is going to be a table really detailing. This is from the, I believe it's the National Institute of Mental Health. Like, do I need help? So those are some things that you can do to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. If you need a check-in, where am I today? What is my baseline? How am I feeling? So that you can also apply those activities to where you are today. not necessarily your ideal state. I know we always have a tendency to see that ideal state and then feel bad that we're not there yet. But this process towards that ideal state is a beautiful one as well. So if you need to check in and see where you are today to determine what those activities should be, this is a great checklist for you to see, for you to use. Do I have mild symptoms? Have they lasted more than 2 weeks? What are some self-care activities that I can participate in? Am I having difficulty sleeping? Am I having difficulty concentrating? When you answer all these questions, it can help you determine, well, what type of activities will help alleviate some of these symptoms that I'm feeling so that I'm my best self as I progress on this career progress.
All right. Well, thank you, Jillian. I appreciate it. This is very.
I know that ended kind of awkwardly, but it's really an opportunity. I just want people to use the previous couple of slides so they can just determine where they are and determine what the right self-care activities are for them. No one's self-care routine is the same. I'll give a prime example. Many people love massages. It's not my thing. My self-care activity is dance. So I need to be at a concert. I need to be in someone's park. I need to be in front of a live band. And that gives me the type of self-care that I need that some people may get in massages. So I just want everyone to know that your self-care will be completely attributable to you. It'll be specific to you. And to spend a good amount of time finding out what really does make you feel good, and make sure that you deserve to feel good at every step of this progress towards your career transformation. So that's my official conclusion. I didn't mean to leave you hanging.
I was like, so thank you, Jillian. I love the fact, I love your transparency. It's like, the massage thing isn't my thing,
It's not my thing. But I find a way to get that body moving.
I'm like, I am the dancer. Get me to dancing, but I love a good massage. Take these knots out.
Yes.
And these stress bumps. Yeah, I'm totally the massage chick. So
yeah,
but this was really
is personal to you, so it's yours. So it can look whatever way it needs to look, as long as you're getting the care you need.
That's awesome. Thank you for this month's wellness check. Woohoo!
You're welcome.
All right, so let's see. My goal for you for this next couple of moments that you're sharing with us, your time, is for you to be able to execute. We want you to be able to execute, and we want to be able to give you the right tools and enable you to open the right doors in 2024. I realized part of lessons learned for the past couple of months is there are probably more doors that I'm closing than I'm opening. So that's just being cognizant of where we are as we start moving forward. So that's our goal for you for this session and for the rest of the year, is that you're going to open the right doors in 2024. And so let us begin with our pulse check. So before we get started, we want to make sure that on this Juneteenth day, we want to be free, and we want to be able to align ourselves and make sure that we are all talking about the same things. So when we start going through the pulse check exercises, these are the categories that you have to select from that we're providing as a baseline. Feel free to add more that you may have identified in your personal life, but we're going to discuss career, your civic community, your family, your health, your social, and your spiritual posture. 2024 is the year of what for you? We said at the beginning that we had a theme, and our theme for this year is, guess what? Opening the right doors in 2024. But what is your word? If you really had to look back and see for the last 6 months, 2024 for me has been, what could you sum that up in one word? I would definitely say that 2024 has been challenging. I'm going to start it off with that. So 2024 has been the year of super duper challenges. I just remember going to sleep and saying, oh my God, this is so hard. How can I continue? And so 2024, now this is not what I said in January. So, what did you say in January when you were doing your New Year's resolution list? I said that 2024 was going to be the year of dimensions for me. I was going to go levels deep into different silos that I've established. And because I'm saying that this year has been a year of challenges, you can't go deep without going through some challenges. You do not build resiliency without going through some challenges. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just sharing what this year would be for me as I take a look back to see what I would term that in one word, challenges. But then I have to map that against what did I originally say was going to be my word for this year, and it was dimensions, that I was going to go through different levels and different dimensions and depths within my career, within my walk with God, within my social presence, within my health, my family, my community. What does that look like? So let's see. The first thing is top achievements. Woohoo! What are some of your top achievements that you have accomplished and achieved in this season? So we're just asking for 3. So in terms of your career, we can, maybe it's one of the 6. Do you have an achievement for your career? Do you have an achievement for your community and your family? One of the ones that we had was we actually accomplished an event, a public event. It was Headshots and Happy Hour. And so we were really excited about accomplishing that and being able to manifest personal branding and execute upon that. So that was one of our top achievements. There are numerous ones, getting clients signed, getting clients to get their interviews. So we're really excited about that in terms of our career, anything within the health, taking these wellness checks, making sure that every time that we have a platform that we are re-emphasizing the importance on making sure that our wellness and our health are at paramount. If you are not healthy, then your efforts on seeking a job, it's going to be challenging for you. You keeping a job will be challenging for you. So we want to make sure that that is first and foremost. Your family needs you, and so do we. So those are some of we're just sharing some top achievements for ourselves. What I have recognized working with some clients is this has been a difficult space for some people to be in, because if it's not the big hitters, if it's not our big goals, then the small or the tiny triumphs we take for granted. And so this is why we're placing this into our presentation, is to take the time and recognize what you've achieved on your bad days, because we will all have them. On those days where it's not going that great, and you have to start reminding yourself of how far you've come, it's going to be those tiny triumphs that you start building upon, and it starts actually increasing your confidence. And so you don't want to lose sight of that. You want to make sure that you are getting credit, or you are giving yourself the right kudos, and that you appreciate those moments, because it's going to take a lot of small progress that make a big impact. So don't ignore the tiny things in your life. Don't despise the day of small beginnings, because one day it will be huge. The next thing on our pulse check is we want to go to disappointments. I realize that a lot of times social media has us on these highs. And then when something doesn't go towards our expectations, we're in the valley and we're getting stuck. So I'm here to say that life is actually going to be about achievements and disappointments. And we are here for you. We are here for you for your victories and your valleys. But your valleys are just temporary, and they have an expiration date. But it's important for us to acknowledge. This whole slide is about acknowledging it, not ignoring it, and understanding that it has its place. Because when we look at how far we've come in the valley and how we have made it through, it's going to be that look back, right? That did I actually come through that? Because I didn't think I was going to make it, but you did. And so 2024, the reason why I said, and I'll just be transparent, that 2024 is a challenging year for me, because within a 6-week period, I lost six individuals, but 3 of those were very close to me. My godmother and my mentor, one of my clients' mother, who was also a client. And so this makes you pause. This makes you look at, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Am I being honest with myself? Am I being transparent with myself? Will I allow myself to grieve? It's these moments that make our humanity and allow us to reflect and appreciate the life that we're living. So these disappointments can be what I just named, with the transition of some very influential individuals in my life, or it can be an event. We've had some clients where they've received not so great news that their last day is going to be, yesterday or today. And so we have to be there for you in those moments, and you need to be there for yourself as well. So allow yourself the downtime to reflect on that, honor your emotions, and then let's document this. Because if we have to see where you have been in the last 10 years, you haven't been consistently in the valley. There's been ups and downs and ups and downs. And so I think that what that does is it allows us to appreciate the time that we have and not take it for granted. All right. So what are some of those moments in 2024 that we want you to reflect on, and we want you to honor it? All right. As we start moving on to the next point for our pulse check. What are some of your fun memories? What are some of those moments that put a smile on your face? Like part of our wellness check that we began in January was actually Jillian got me into this, saying that she was going to take pictures of moments that just made her pause and smile. You see that? I'm smiling and I'm pausing. And so I took a set of pictures of some gladiolas that I got from Trader Joe's. Oh my gosh, they just make me smile. I feel like if they could talk, they would be squealing at me. I love these flowers, and every time I look at it, it just puts a smile on my face. So this is a fun moment. What were some moments for you? Write that down. Because you know what? There's a study that was showing that when you start reflecting on past memories, it does something for your body. It does something for your energy. Have you ever noticed a little baby, whenever they're sleeping and they just start giggling in their sleep? You know what that does to you visually? It's the same thing that happens as adults. So take the time for us to capture those moments if you can. If you can do a video, if you could do a picture, maybe you don't have any technology, right? Maybe this is just you writing. Maybe it's just you journaling. What are some of your thoughts that you have, and some of the reflections that you're observing and that you want to, again, honor? So during this pulse check, yes, we want to actually capture our achievements. We don't want to shun from it. We want to own it. We want to document those times that it's been the trials that we've gone through, the disappointments that we've encountered. We want to honor those moments, because that's part of our humanity, both of those tied together. And then with the fun memories, we want to make sure you have got some. I'm pretty sure you've got some funny moments, not even fun memories. I probably should do a slide for funny moments, because I definitely got a lot of those. And so sometimes you got to encourage yourself when there isn't anyone else around, or if we're not able to be there for you, or if your family just isn't picking up the phone when you want that, you've got some things that you can refer to. So we want to equip you with that. as part of your tool base. The next picture, a fun memory, was I went to Mexico for a weekend with some other coaches, with my coach and the team, and it was a fabulous experience. It totally changed the trajectory of where I am, and doing this presentation is part of the fruit of that labor. The last picture is Jillian and I were at the Ion downtown, and we went and met with the Blue people. They were so fun. They were so cool. But I had to take a picture of a picture because they gave us this little magnet, and they do Tech Tequila Talk. So they're like, come visit us just walk to our office on a Friday, and we'll do tequila shots. And I'm like, you guys are hilarious. So if you ever get a chance to go to the Ion and you get a chance to bump into someone from Blue People, big up, because they definitely gave us some great moments in our look back of 2024. The next one I think is really important is we added this: what moments shifted and challenged you? It could be some of the moments that were disappointments, or it could just be a stretching moment. You recognize that, oh my God, I was removed from my comfort zone. It's not a disappointment, but it's not a warm and fuzzy either, right? But you do know that it is shifting you for your better. You do know that you're moving in the right direction. You do know that it's challenging the way that you're thinking, the way that you've done things all the time, the status quo. And so what were some of those moments for you that shifted and challenged you? I can say being part of another program, being able to put myself out there and do Instagram lives, and doing a live recording right now with webinar, and being able to, I recorded my speaker reel. I have been challenged out of my comfort zone like never before. I hated doing videos. I hated doing IGs and jumping on. And now I can see the fruit of the labor. And now I want to do it all the time. So we will be joining you guys in 2 weeks in being able to share the information. So what are some of those moments that shifted you? And it's important for you to understand, really, I should put when did that happen, as well as what was the moment, because the timing of that really is significant. When you look back a year from now, what does that, is it the same time that you're going through this challenge? I had a call from a friend and a former coworker, and she's a client now. And we were talking, and I was like, you've come a long way. Like a year ago, we didn't even think that you would be in this position as long as you have. So like, wow, things have really moved for you. And she's like, you know what? Hold on for a second. And she went through and she was like, oh my gosh, Trisha, it is a year ago today that we had this conversation, that this is the moment that we were talking about was the actual same day a year prior. And so I'm like, those are patterns that sometimes we overlook and we don't take time to capture. And so I'm working on some case studies and scenarios of those, but I want you to keep in mind these moments, your achievements, your disappointments, those fun memories, your challenges. These are moments that, what are you taking away from it? What are you learning from that? What do we want to repeat out of what worked well for our achievements? What did not work well for our disappointments, and what I won't repeat? These are the reasons why we are doing this pulse check. We need to see where we are. We need to make sure that we our reading is accurate. But you can only do that if you acknowledge the moments and the scenarios that you've encountered, if you capture your emotions that were associated to that, and that you reflect and dissect what we're going to take with us for the second half of 24, and what we're going to bury in the first half of 24. There's some things that we should not take along. But there's some things, as painful as it is for some memories of those that have transitioned, they left me something. They left me a light and a fire that I need to continue on their behalf, right? So there's not everything gets put away, but there are things that you need to make sure that we continue moving forward and produce that legacy. So I didn't say this. My personal theme for the decade is that this is a decade of legacy. So everything that I go through is going to go through the filter of sustainability, history. How is that being maintained? What does that look like? What's the perception that we're leaving? So I want to be true. I want to be honest. I want to honor my feelings, but I want to do it in grace. So what are some of those moments that shifted and challenged you? All right. So lessons learned for 2024. I've learned some good things. And so what have you learned? If you could put the top 3 things that you have learned in 2024, this is where you want to capture that. But these are some of our lessons learned just to keep this going is take ownership of your data. Last week, I had the privilege of attending Databricks' 2024 conference for 2-3 days. It was great. It was fabulous. It was virtual, but it was so informative. And so I realized that this decade of the 20s and going into the 30s, data is the new money. So who owns your personal data? Who owns your professional data? You've been with a company for 10 plus years. When you leave the company, what are you taking with it? And do you own it? You may not own the form. So most companies, I understand that there's, proprietary. This is our form. You can't do anything with it. This is our data. In specifics, what is proprietary information for the company, but how you enabled them is yours. How you made them successful, that's all about you. Do you own that? Is it written down? Can you reference it rather quickly? Or is it going to take you a week to unearth and extrapolate? All right. The next thing, taking ownership of your data, you need to understand your value. I think these two go hand in hand. Understanding your value and importance and your relevance is so key, because then that's going to place the demand on what you should be receiving. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but understanding your value is something that I have learned is a continual lesson for everyone that we're encountering. Some people come in strong with it. Some people come in and say, hey, we understand it. We know it. But then there's some questions that I ask after that. You understand your value, but can we quantify that? Can you articulate that? So understand your value and your worth. Number 3, control your personal brand narrative. I realize that I get a chance to dictate how you're going to perceive me, how you're going to receive me. I am taking full control of my personal brand and image. What does that look like? What does that sound like? How does my identity show up on social media? How am I showing up just in a physical presence? How is my information how is that speaking on my behalf even before I arrive? Control your personal brand narrative. So in our position as being the CEO and founder of Launch Your Influence, these are all the areas that we actually have encountered and worked with our clients in. So this is some of the insight that we have gathered, and we've got so much more to go and share, but this is just the 3 that we wanted to kick you off and get you started on. So now let's go on for our career check. I just love this little pulse check thing. I think it's just so fancy. I get excited about it. How are we looking in 2024? So we're going to jumpstart our career. This is everything that I know that you've been waiting on. So we are going to introduce the 5 C's framework, our 5 C's framework. And so the first C is capability. Really, it's the question of why are you doing this? Really, we just talked about it. Your value. That you have to understand your value. You need to understand your capability of what you can achieve. We want to define capability, the suitability, effectiveness of value of a system for a given purpose. Do you know your value? Can you quantify this? Can you consistently, concisely articulate the value that you have demonstrated and enabled others to be successful with? I hear it all the time. Trisha, I'm going for this position because I deserve to be in this position. I've been in this role for 10 years and everybody else is being passed by. And okay, so what are your qualifiers? Let's talk about that. Do you know what that is? Because whoever they is going to vary for all different scenarios, but somebody has an idea of what you don't know. And how can I say that, Trish? How do you know that? Because you're not asking. Because if you knew, you would ask. If you knew, there would be a lot of things people ain't getting away with. So we don't want to ruffle the feathers. No, ma'am. I need you to understand what your value is, sir, what your capability is. That's part of that, taking that ownership and owning our data. All right. First C, capability. Second C, where are you working today? I feel like this is one of the, this is a hidden gem. Why is that? You should know more about your company than anybody else because they're employing you, correct? But who are you working for? Are they Fortune 500 list? Are they on Forbes 100 list? Is the CEO part of the millionaires list of on Forbes? Because Forbes has all the lists that you can think of. What's their relevance? Why is this important? So when we talk about our career and we talk about insight, one of the things that in your profile or your cover letter, hey, I actually worked for a energy company that is a Fortune 500 energy company, sounds completely different than me just saying that I worked in the energy sector. We are leaving things on the table because it's these small things, right? So that's why I say despise not the day of small beginnings. Let's understand our own dynamics. Let's understand our own data. Who are you working for? And what do they look like? So just in case you're not sure, just in case you don't even know, like generative AI only works when I ask the right questions. So if you don't even know what to ask, Siri, Alexa, Bard, Claude, all of these AI peeps, then go to Yahoo Finance. Look up your company there. Is it a publicly traded company? Is it private equity? Where are they? Are they small cap, mid cap? These are descriptors that you could use as part of your profile because that company employed you and you delivered value for them to even show up on Yahoo Finance. Come on, let's get this together. If you don't understand Yahoo Finance, which is very explanatory, I need you to check it out because they've updated their information. Then let's go to Wikipedia. Look up your company there. Wikipedia does a great job of giving you the background, giving you different sections and segments about the company that you could use for the areas that you're enabling. Be informed. Be informed. So number one, we talked about capability. Number two, where are you working? Number three, our third C is content. Content. All right. Content is very important. Okay, so content is the meat of the scenario. I had a video. It wasn't really working because it was going in and out. But I will give you some background information. I love musicals. So if you don't like musicals, this might not be a good thing. But Singing in the Rain is the musical. And there's a scene where there is somebody that is showing up and they've got all the FaceTime. They look great. They're cute. All of this. But they aren't the voice. Their voice doesn't match their presence. Some of you, your brand voice, one, doesn't exist. But when your brand voice gets to the content of your capabilities, it doesn't match. We're misaligned. We're not, it's not an even Steven here. So if you happen to be someone that is a manager, senior level, there's a certain perception and a certain posture that is expected for you to be reflecting. But if your documentation and your content does not match up, we've got a content problem. Warning, Will Rogers, content issue. Warning, warning. This is why we have it in red, because your content is the basis. It is the foundation for your career. It needs to be irrefutable data that are factual. Not, we are not trying to put our opinions all over here. We need to come in with the data because it can't be refuted. It needs to be high quality, which needs to then say that it is qualified. It's quantified. We got numbers. Content. Nobody's content on a resume should be showing up without some sort of numbers. Well, Trish, I wasn't even in finance. I don't even understand why you're saying that. No, my love, we need to quantify. How many people were you supervising? How large of the company or the department were you leading? That's what I'm saying about quantifying. It's not only about the cost and the value for it, of what you're doing. That too, though, and that speaks a lot more volume than just putting on, I led a team of 5, right? So we want you to be very cognizant of what projects you're working on, what are the values of those projects that you've enabled, and how are you taking that company to the next level? Remember at the beginning, I said, I've heard it, been there and done that. I should be in these positions. But what do you look like? And what is your content saying? All right, so let's look at this. Content. I say that content is king. It is supreme. It is royal. In royalty, there is no one higher than the king. If we go to Saudi Arabia, there is a hierarchy in place, and you don't get higher than the king. There's a high. It's not only just a position. There is power with it. There is a structure and a hierarchy with it. So this is going to be the same concept that we're bringing into content is king. Quality and quantity. We want to make sure that you can clearly and concisely articulate your value with measurable outcomes. I said a lot there. That should be an acronym, but it don't really go together, so I got to think about that. But clearly, concisely articulate the value, or I can clearly, concisely articulate the capability that I have with measurable outcomes. All right. Next, content, doer versus achiever. So we see this all the time where people are taking the job descriptions that the company put down to say, this is what we want. You're putting it in your resume and you're telling us what you were doing, but we are not hiring you based off of what you do. Ooh, that's good. We are hiring you based off of what you achieved, what outcomes you delivered, the impact that you're making to the company. So we are automatically separating and we're shelving the doers, and we are highlighting and focusing and having those conversations with those that are achievers. Which one are you? Second, the third thing, strengths and successes, content. I want it to be quality. I want it to be quantified. I need to demonstrate that you achieve something. And the next thing is we need to have your successes and strengths, your competencies and your areas of strength. You can articulate what those are. And so let's see what this looks like. Our description. This is actually something I did receive, which is why it's here. Bless my friend's soul. This is before based off of what we talked about, what is, this is a lot to read. Because of the format, I don't even want to read the content. But when I do read the content, it's not quantifiable. It actually is just showing me doer activities. And I don't even get to the last bullet that we talked about, skills and successes. So after working with us, we were able to get them to start speaking some numbers, right? Start speaking some numbers. And so Grant, as a grant writer, they were constituted more than 40% of their annual funding. That gives me context and it narrows it down, because if I'm going to compare you to the other 100+ applicants, they are not vague. They are very specific on what they achieved and what they're bringing into the table. So that's what you have to do. So this is an example of what not to do. It's too wordy. It's overwhelming. I don't have time for it. I don't want to read it. Then, okay, this is a little bit easier for me to read. I'm seeing some stuff. Okay, they gave a proposal for over 10,000 tribal members. Okay, for reservation. Okay, all right. They had some impact on growth rates, over 500 plants. They've got some exposure. We could talk. This makes me want to have a conversation. That's the kind of information that you should be reflecting in your data and on your jobs. The last bullet talked about skills and successes. How you present your skills and successes is important. Some of us, our expertise is so vast, like I need you to organize it. So organizing what your skill set and your bucketing that in terms of your competencies, in terms of if it's on the technical side, what is it, platforms that you have, automation, marketing? What are some of the skills and the tools that you've used and that make it easier for us, the job owner or the recruiter, to quickly assess and say, yeah, we can have a conversation. This is a before example of our skills. Like, oh, wow, this is a lot. Okay. And it's not organized. They're just a list of all these skills. And then this is a list of how we organized it. Their core competencies, those skills were HR system specifically. Let's call that out. Visualizations, reporting. So we want to be able to organize and place our information accurately. All right. We're quantifying some of our information, result in hiring 25 over 100%. Girl, this is gold, right? Content is king. Well, then if content is king, how are we communicating? Remember that other slide? I was like, that's too much. I didn't even want to get there. Communication is the 4th C. How are we presenting ourselves? Messaging, presentation, appearance, and delivery. True communication means that it is recognized and it is actually, there's an action that's taking place. So a lot of times when you're submitting your information, some of those actions may be an email from a recruiter. Let's talk. It may be scheduling up an interview. A pre-screening. So there's some activities that come up with that. That is basically saying that your communication document, your resume, your representative is speaking well on your behalf and is very clear and concise because somebody else was able to respond to it. So communication is very important. Oops. Presentation. So when we say communication, it's all about the presentation, and presentation is queen. Content is king. Presentation is queen. Why are we saying presentation is queen? Because we know in royalty households or in structures, the queen is the one that is setting the precedence and the presence and the structure of how things are to be received and how they're being delegated or executed, and it's all about presentation. And so we realize that for our clients or what we're doing, your first impression, you only get one chance. You don't ever have a second chance. Charles Swindoll said it best. But part of that presentation is you have to understand who your audience is. We have a 2-part audience here. We've got AI, Siri and her sisters in the gang. And then we've got humans, the job recruiter, the job owner. Yes, flesh and blood. So we've got the flesh and blood working with the technical advocates of AI. And so you can't speak the same way to everybody. So AI will kick some things out. We talk about that SEO. Do you have all the keywords? And what does that look like? Is it a specific format, or else it's going to kick it out? So we want to make sure that we entertain both of our audience as a queen gracefully, and you won't even see, we won't miss a beat. So understand that you have two audiences. When it's time for you to upload your resume, that's AI. When it's time for someone to say, hey, can you send me a copy of your resume? All of that formatted colors, all that stuff, go ahead and send it to them. But don't you dare send that to AI. That ain't going to work. You will get kicked out, kicked back, and then you're ghosted. They're not even going to tell you you're ghosted. All right. So the third presentation point is social media. Social media. I just did we're doing research and more studies on the job searching journey. And we found a statistic that said, I think it's like 54% apply for jobs online. But 46% are rejected because, no, it was like 80 something percent, I think, right? 80% of people that are seeking jobs are doing it online, right? We're uploading our information, but like 50% of those individuals are getting rejected because of their own social media presence. So what does that look like for you? So we have an example of, this is a profile that I did while we were promoting an event, Headshots and Happy Hour, but there's some things that I just want you to take away. I've got an image. A professional image goes a long way. Studies have shown that it is 4 times more views than not having something and just using your out-of-box template. The second thing is our headliner. It is very clear of who I am and what I'm catering to. So you want to make sure that you are taking advantage of your real estate. That's your banner. It's free advertisement and your headliner space. I'm a CEO, career consultant, and coach. I'm a speaker. Personal branding is my jam. Agile project management enthusiast. That is me to the core. So you want to be able to make sure that these moments that you get, you want to manage it. You want to own it. The statistic that I just gave you is that HR is doing their homework. So they're looking to make sure that you will represent their company as much as are they on your list of a company in social impact. So it is a 50-50 journey. So we are dancing amongst ourselves on both sides of the fence there. So you need to make sure that your other social media platforms are up to par. If somebody else comes in to and encounter it. That is with your political positions, social stances. We're seeing that there have been some impacts because of that. So you want to be cognizant of it. All right. So we're going to talk about our brand. Let's see if I can get you to see this. I think that this is an extension of the brand. Let's see.
Dating Kim Kardashian.
Let's see if I can rewind this. Okay.
Reach their market. Second, Formula One. No, Ferrari does this. Ferrari is on Formula One. McLaren is on Formula One. Not Lambo. Movies. When was the last time you watched a movie with a Lamborghini in it? No producer spending that kind of money to crash a car. Forget it. Aston Martin. How does Aston Martin market their product? James Bond. Now, the character James Bond works for the Aston Martin car because of the way an Aston Martin drives. The character of an Aston Martin is very different to the character of a Lamborghini. The one would be like dating Kim Kardashian. The other, like dating the queen, the guy who wears a suit, it's the undercover agent, it's all the girls. Not loud, not ostentatious. This is why you've never watched a hip hop video with an Aston Martin. Your brand is an extension of the customer's need to say something. So you got to figure out what do your customers need to say and how do you use your brand to give them the ability to say this.
How do you use your brand to give them the ability to speak on your behalf? Man, I was like, oh, this is good. This is some good stuff right there. Because guess what, people? You are the brand. You are the brand. Your documentation. Oh, wait, what just happened? Your documentation and your resume, all of that is actually what's going to speak on other people's behalf for you. So you need to make sure that you understand that your representation, your representative may not be you physically, it may be you digitally. It may not be your resume, it may be your social media, but you are the brand and how is it speaking on your behalf? And that is within your control. We're just reminding you this. Our next and our last C is connections. Connections. So connections is really a short word of that. It's our network, people. You cannot, the statistics are very astounding. At 80% of a lot of positions are based off of their networks. Who knows who? So who you know makes a huge impact. I would say who knows you is a better connector. So who knows you? How are you fostering those relationships? Who's in your mentor, your advocacy, your sponsorship pool? What are some of those relationships that can elevate you to the next level? I just had a client return. She came back because somebody that she worked with, she functioned from a spirit of excellence so well that when they left the company, 2 years later, they're calling back on her to say, hey, can you mind coming over here and we'll give you another position and we'll offer you this and that because of a relationship. So you want to make sure that you nurture all of your relationships while you can, because you never know what doors can open up. Get it? Open the right doors, can open up for you in the future. So your connections and your network is going to be huge in this season for you. So you can probably be a lot more assertive for the second half of 2024. But we wanted to leave you with this. A lot of times we've gotten questions on what's the difference between an advocate and a mentor. Here's some characteristics. An advocate is your champion. They are your mouthpiece when you are not in the room. They are the ones that have the ear. An advocate has the ear of a sponsor. So they'll be the ones, they have that good relationship and they'll be able to say, Bill, I just heard that Jillian just did this presentation. It was fabulous. I think you need to check it out. Really? Okay. If you say I need to check it out, I'll check it out because the sponsor respects the advocate. All right. So the advocate is your champion. And sometimes you know who your advocates are. Sometimes they may be silent. Sometimes they just have their ear to the ground and they have the right relationships to just pick up information and to be very objective about it, vet it, and then share it with the sponsor. So you never know who is listening, who is hearing about how good of your work is doing. You are not the best kept secret that nobody's heard of. So visibility is really important here. So in terms of your mentor, advocate versus mentor. So your mentor is going to be your personal, professional development. They are going to be someone that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. They have nothing to gain from the relationship. They are there to foster your relationship and they want you to succeed. So those are the focus, right? The advocate's a champion of moving that needle. The mentor also can be they're a champion for your personal and professional development. And they can connect you to an advocate. You never know how those relationships are working. But those are some delineations in terms of focus. An advocate can be more distant. That's why I'm saying sometimes an advocate can be silent, but your mentor is someone you are checking in once a month. You're going to have breakfast or coffee with them. You're going to be able to share your development areas that you want to improve and build, and they're going to give you feedback. So the relationships, there's definitely a dynamic of differences there. In terms of expertise, as an advocate, I don't actually have to have that, because if I am silent, I am distant, and I am your champion, I'm actually seeing this from a different posture, but I am your mouthpiece. So I don't always have to have the expertise in the arena. I can then ask and check with your mentor to make sure that that expertise is in alignment. All right. So your mentor usually has the expertise, and it's very significant. It may be very tailored to a certain area. I want to move to finance. So the mentor that I have right now in terms of networking and being able to navigate the culture of the organization, this person is in the position that I want to meet with. So I need to add them as a mentor as well. So you can have multiple mentors, right? But that's where the expertise comes in, because it can be functional. You're my mentor based off of finances or an area of a skilled area that you want to progress in. In terms of action, your advocate, like I said, is your champion. So they're always lobbying and they're always speaking for you on your behalf. Your mentor is private. And sometimes I prefer that I don't publicize who my mentors are. That is part of my safety net, right? So your mentor should be private. You don't need to announce it to the world just so you can be showcasing things. No, as you start elevating and moving in the hierarchy of relationships, you're going to understand that that can be protected, that is and nurtured and respected. All right. In terms of time and term availability, long-term versus short-term, advocate, it's going to vary based off of what the advocacy that you're needing. And then your mentor, it could be typically long-term. I have a mentor that I started off with at the last major company that I was working with in IT, and I still touch base with her like every quarter. Like, I just want to let you know, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at. Let's go to eat. Let's talk. So I'm always checking in with her as to making sure that I'm in alignment and get feedback, right? And bounce some ideas off. So if you can have a relationship of a mentor, and it can be multi-year, and it can extend after you leave the company, that's even better. Or extend after you leave your said organization, that's even a plus. All right, so these are some additional highlights that we talked about in terms of LinkedIn. I won't spend time on that, but this is our framework. So this is the 5C framework: capability, company, content, communication, and connections. Woohoo, we did it. We did it. We got one more video to show to you. And this is very enlightening on here, because let's see if I can. Okay.
A new swept tail. For those of us in the room who don't.
Okay. We talked about Aston Martin. This is good.
Cars. Have you ever turned on a TV ad and seen a Rolls Royce ad? Or flipped a newspaper and seen a Rolls Royce ad? So where do they sell their cars? How do they do promotion? Yes, ma'am. Not even that. You won't find them at the Polo, because a Rolls Royce owner isn't at the Polo. The guy who's driving a 2002 Rolls Royce might be at the Polo. But the person who's on Rolls Royce's list to mail when they're releasing a new swept tail, for those of us in the room who don't know about cars, when they're releasing a new swept tail, which is not just a Rolls Royce, it's not even a black badge, it's a really, really limited edition. The guy who's on that mailing list, he's not at the Polo. So where is he? Yes, exactly right. Air shows. So Boeing is showing their latest plane. Gulfstream is showing the latest private jet. right next to a Rolls Royce. That's where you find them. Now, why do you not know that? How many of you here have been invited to the launch of a new private jet? I rest my case. So some of the things you buy because of what they buy you access to.
All of that was because of that last statement. Some of the jobs that will invest in you is because when they invest in you, it is what they're going to have access to. What are they accessing? What are they accessing? Are you an expert in data analytics? Are you an expert in communication? Are you an expert? What is it that is being accessed and what does that look like? So it's really important to understand your value because that is what is actually being tapped into. And that is actually the answer. What is being accessed? It's your value. Do you understand it? And can you clearly, with the 5 C's, can you clearly and concisely articulate the value that you're contributing in a measurable outcomes? All right. And so we are here. One of our clients has this to say, since we just wrapped up about presentation. Presentation is everything. The job owner was impressed by her interview presence, and she attributed that to her portfolio and her continued communication engagement as we traveled along the way. And so we want to go ahead and offer you our Launch Your Influence, our portfolio, where it's a 90-day program, where it's a do-it-for-you service. You're going to have to do a couple of things, but we remove the complexity and we actually simplify your journey in creating a portfolio that you can confidently articulate concisely and clearly your value that you want to contribute to the organizations that you want to pursue. And so this is a slide that we had for you to keep in mind that in 2030, can you imagine we're halfway through the 20s, the decade of the 20s, and now we're moving into the 2030s. I thought it was interesting to highlight what are some of the major industries. I want you to take a look at what's common here. Everything is technology driven or impacted. So if you worked in technology, it used to be like, let's just do the big 5, Google, Meta, Amazon, you get the idea, right? No longer is that the case because every company is going to need that knowledge in order to elevate and support and enable these industries, even with AI. All right, let me say that. AI is revamping how we do things. So learning new skill sets is important and being in tune as to what those will look like. But you will have some positions that will definitely need human intervention. All right. So there's some hope for us, and we are in the driver's seat. So we were offering our Transform and Boost Your Executive Brand with our Launch Your Influence portfolio for $2,500, where it's a complete do-it-for-you service. We create your value proposition letter, all of your communication engagements as you start going into your pre-screening, your interviews, your post-interviews. What does that look like? What are those touch points looking like in terms of your brand and the value that you've contributed? Are we speaking the same language? Pay in full $2,500. If not, we've got 3 months for $958. And here is just an example of our personal branding with some additional portfolio elements. And we are wrapping it up. So look here, if you aren't able to join, or if you know that somebody wasn't able to join and be on today's webinar, we'll have the replay and the playbook for you. The playbook has got all the information and more on what we talked about, but to be able to set you up for success, for you to do your own self-audit and to be accompanied with some of the information that we discussed. I'm really curious to see how you are going to play out with some of these review and rate your resume and your audit LinkedIn, all for $19.99. This is going to be good until Sunday. So check us out. Oh, actually, this isn't good until Friday, and then you will have the replay will be good up until for a certain time frame. So let's go ahead and check this out. If you have any questions, go ahead and put a question in the Q&A, and we will thank you for sharing. Do we have any questions in the Q&A? Let me see. Let me stop sharing here. Can I see? Stop sharing here. Can I see? Oh, all right. Okay, so we are ready to wrap it up for this Juneteenth. Yes, thank you for this Juneteenth holiday. Great for being with you. Thank you for sharing your time with us, and have an awesome day. Bye-bye.
Record.